Hey, what's up, guys? It's Dan from UnitedQ. It's Wednesday, which means we have another awesome podcast to get you over hump day. I'm here with my co-host, Barbecue Forte.
Hello.
And we are brought to you by PART2, BBQ Gourmet and Smokewood Shack, our awesome sponsors. PART2 is dedicated to providing with quality smoking products with top-notch service and free advice for beginners to pitmasters, and you can find them on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram under PART2 Smokers. So if you think about buying your first smoker or looking to upgrade or even looking to pick up some epic accessories, check them out over at maxbarbecue.com. Barbecue Gourmet is devoted to promoting real barbecue and supplying the UK and Europe with top championship-winning barbecue rubs, sauces, marinades and accessories from the US and around the world. You can find them on Twitter and online under Barbecue Gourmet. Regardless of how you cook, whether it's on charcoal, wood, gas or electric, the real taste of barbecue can be yours all year round. So
you've jazzed it up.
Let's just move on to charcoal layouts.
Yeah.
So there's a few things to sort of take on board when you start properly barbecuing. I would say that. I'd say that comfortably there. Big difference. There's a few things to think about here. You have
these are things that take you from your average just I'm a home
grilling.
barbecuer griller to an elite pit master.
Yeah.
This is what's going to make you level up in
these are
life.
the things for you to really learn. And should we start off? Well, let's just start off with two-zone cooking. So your two-zone cooking is a hot area and a cool area as such. So your hot area will be sort of directly over charcoal, and so what you do is you position charcoal to sort of one side of the basket, and then you can have a hotter temperature directly over it, and you have a sort of a cooler temperature away from it, sort of a less direct heat where you could sort of roast items and stuff like that. Obviously, if you close the lid, then what you then get is a sort of oven sort of style. You create an oven in there, and you can roast stuff and all the rest of it. But also without the lid on, you can actually two-zone. You can use the cooler area to cook stuff. So basically, if something's becoming a little bit more done, you move it to the cooler area. You can cook stuff, like edge it closer and use the radiant heat from the hot area to cook stuff. There's plenty of options there. So two-zone cooking.
Yeah. So that gives you the ability to have direct and indirect cooking.
Yep. And then moving on slightly, you have the term there, indirect and direct. So you can actually a great way to describe this is in the drum smokers and in the bullet smokers. You've got the water pan or the deflector sheet.
And in the ceramic as well, you have
and in the ceramic you have a reflector plate. Yeah. That's the word I was looking for. And what that does is that is directly in between the food and the heat source, which then creates an indirect heat source. So that's that there. And also direct cooking is like your standard grilling. But also there's two types of that. So you can have like sort of long distance direct and sort of close direct, or even very, very close and go caveman dirty. And a great way of doing that is like you've got the different shelves in the ProQ or in the WSM and in the. Do you have shelves in the ceramics?
If you buy
you
can buy a grill extender, so you can add it up higher. So
again, like you can still direct grill, so there's nothing in between, but you could have it up higher, so it still takes a little bit. It still cooks it a little bit slower than what it would lower down, or it protects it from burning or whatever else there is there. So
when you're using, say you're using like a Weber kettle, other kettles are available, but like there's a few different methods for achieving like low and slow long cooks. So like stuff like doing like the ring of fire, where you can kind of put all your coals around the outside of it in a circle, and that allows you to give it like the radiant heat coming from all the way around. So if you had like a chicken, say, right in the middle, then you'll have heating it from all the way around. Yeah, definitely. That's what I would use for like the pineapple upside down cake.
You actually wrote a really, really nice piece on this. It's in the UK Barbecue Mag.
Yeah, definitely subscribe to that if you haven't got it yet.
Yeah, check that out. There's actually a review on charcoals and stuff, actually, the most recent one, and you've done like a charcoal layouts piece on there. So check that out. That actually has descriptions and diagrams of what barbecue forte is talking about now. But then you have the snake method.
Yeah, and that's what I would, when I was into my low and slow in the Weber kettle.
Yeah.
I would always use the snake method. That was what I did.
And again, like when you get to know your grill, like the size of it and stuff like that, you'll know how many you build your snake up with. But like typical, like starting at around 3 to 4 to 5, like depending on how big your unit is, you set up a snake, which is charcoal running around, like it's like the same as the ring of fire. So it runs around the outside, but you don't join up. You leave a gap. So you could take it right the way up and around and just leave a small gap, and that will give you a longer cook, obviously, or like you could just do half the way around, or whatever you choose to do. That is your timing, and the amount of coals you use to build up your snake is your heat. And then you light up a little selection. So say you're using 3 or 4 or 5 in your snake, you light that many up, so just a handful of charcoal, light it up, and then add it to one end of the snake, and then it burns nice and slowly around. And it's sort of like a
domino effect.
Like a domino effect,
outside.
or like when you light a stick of dynamite, what's it like when you see it like burning down the stick, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's sort of like that. Or then you've got the minion method.
Yeah. Which is the one you'd go for the majority of the time using a Pro Q.
That's all I use now. My bullet smoker is the minion method.
Mm.
And again, I just control it by the amount of coals I use in the pot and the amount of coals I light to light it up. And what the minion method is a big pile of charcoal. Some people would like dig out a little hole in the middle. Some people don't.
Some people like pour it in. If you had like a bean can, you put that in the middle and pour it all in around it, and then take that out, and it gives you like a nice gap in the middle.
Again, another thing for you to do would be, for instance, is to put your chimney starter in your charcoal basket, pour charcoal around your chimney starter, then pour the charcoal you're going to light inside the chimney starter, light that up, and then that actually, when you lift it out to pour it in, it leaves that nice little hole there for you to pour the lit charcoal in. Or you can just pour it directly on top, up to you. I mean, loads of people, there's different theories behind it all, and people will say this way's better, that way's better. We're not here to dictate that. We're just here to suggest another method. That's what I do with the bullet smokers, and that's what I would suggest you do too. Okay.
Definitely.
So, where are we headed next, my friend?
I guess like the thing that's key that we've found, because we were talking about this quite a bit earlier on, that we found that was key to us becoming like the next level barbecuers was cooking to temperatures and the use of thermometers. And I think that's the kind of, when you first start out with barbecue, you're just cooking sausages and burgers, and you kind of know when they're cooked just by looking at them. But when you're moving on to these big lumps of meat which you're wanting to cook for hours and hours, like it's not the sort of thing you can keep
and I'm
taking
actually
the
just
lid
going
off
to
and
pause
having
there,
a
because
look.
I think a lot of the problem actually comes with sausage and burgers and stuff like that is when people are like, oh, are the sausages cooked? Am I going to get food poisoning?
Yes,
whereas
it's cooked.
actually, with a digital thermometer, you can put it in there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say you always have to or whatever, but say you want a bit of confidence and you want to have a very nice, succulent, juicy sausage. You don't want to overdo it. Stick a digital probe in, see what temperature it's at, shut the guests up, eat it. It's not burnt.
I think that's
Simple.
probably the reason why we have got so many burnt sausages as the stereotypical barbecue. And it is it cooked yet? Is it cooked yet? I'll just keep cooking it.
Yeah, and then you end up with like a, I don't know, like a stick,
Yeah.
a rock solid. Like how many barbecues you've been to, then that's what you've been served.
Yeah.
Hell no, not
Not
here.
anymore.
Yeah, so
We've
yeah,
got thermometers now.
and like you're saying, especially when you start moving on to like your big hunks. Oh, that's me.
Ooh.
Sorry, your big chunks of meat. You start needing thermometers,
Yeah.
and you have
It's
different types
ways,
of
yeah.
thermometers. There's sort of like your standard that you would see in a kitchen, which is like your leave-in, the ones you shove into the meat, really, and you can leave in there during the cook. The only problem with those is we like to say when you put something on, leave it be. Don't like peek and don't open the lid. Don't fiddle.
Lose
Don't
all your
fiddle and poke.
temperature all the time.
Every time you open your lid on a long cook, they say you lose half an hour cooking time. So yeah, you don't want to be doing that. So yeah, you can use them, and if you don't want to fork out for a digital one now, I would advise you to. But if you don't want to, that's fine. But a digital one allows you to keep the lid shut. And on the Pro Q, for instance, there's little holes for you to put the digital probes through, and then you don't need to open up. You've got the temperature displayed outside of the barbecue, and actually on like the Maverick 733, for instance, it wirelessly transmits it to my kitchen where I
Mm.
have the other side set up, and I can sit on my sofa, watch the TV with a cup of coffee, and see the temperature of my meat and of my grill.
Yeah, as I say, 'cause you can then have 2 probes then, can't you? So you can have one on the grill, one in the meat, and allows you to track both of those. You can see whether you can set like alarms on it if you want to get that jazzy, and you can have it alert you when it's dropping temperatures, so you can get out there and do some work, or wake you up in the middle of the night so you can go out there again.
Yeah. And like there's lid thermometers. A lot of the units you'll buy from anyone will have a lid thermometer. Some are a lot more accurate than others. I know like the Big Joe, not the Big Joe,
Kamado Joe.
the Kamado Joe. I know they're very
Big Joe.
very accurate.
Yeah, mine's really good. I've like measured that against the Maverick, and they're dead on.
Yeah, and they are very responsive as well. But just something to bear in mind is that a lot of lid thermometers don't tend to be very responsive, and
don't always rely on it.
Don't always rely on it. I would go digital. I would go digital personally, but that is up to you. And also, you've got your handheld ones, so like your
Thermapen.
Yeah. There are other ones available, and there are other great ones, but Thermapen we both use Thermapen. I have the Mark IV because I'm better, which is the new one out.
I'm very jealous because it flips upside down.
Yeah, it rotates round
like an accelerometer in it or something.
Yeah,
so
I've got that anyway. But it's almost an instant read. It tells you
something
very
I could
quickly.
tell you actually. It's
Here
if
we
you
go.
open, because when we were using it the other day, remember we had it. It was in C, and we wanted it in Fahrenheit, didn't we? And we were like, oh, quick, let's just use something else. I found if you open up the battery compartment, it's got some little tabs inside, and read the instructions because they all do different things, but one of them switches over and you can then switch it into...
Was that the time when you were trying to steal mine?
Okay. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, so you got those as well. So say you don't have a thermometer in your hunk of... Sorry, I said it again.
Stop
your
saying hunk.
I'm looking at myself in the reflection. Sorry. Put it into your chunk of meat, and you can tell the temperature. Or another thing you could do, say for instance you got your thermometer smack bam in the biggest part, and you want to test a few other little areas. I tend to use my Thermapen just to have a little prod around and just test the sort of average across the cut.
Yeah, don't always take. I've had that exact thing last week. I had a big beef top rump, I think I was cooking last weekend, and rumpy, and I had the probe in one end of it. It's quite long, so it didn't reach all the way down, and I thought it was cooked, but then one end wasn't. So that was a bit jazzy.
That sounds a bit jazzy.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can prod around with your Thermapen, and that will give you an accurate reading from across the meat rather than just in sort of like the. Obviously, if your biggest, thickest part's done, then usually the rest of it is done. But sometimes you can have a few jazzy things in there that throw you off. So next on our fantastic guide to starters barbecue.
It's getting into the sort of world of rubs and sauces and stuff.
Let's talk rub. My advice here would be Barbecue Gourmet. Head on over, guys. Search Barbecue Gourmet on the internet. And what they have is they have a collection of championship-winning rubs. They are a sponsor, but they do have all the sort of rubs that are winning in these US competitions.
I'm so glad we found them, to be honest, because I really wanted rubs that I was seeing in the US, and I was contacting those companies direct saying, can I get some? And the postage, import, everything like that was just ridiculous.
So they do all that for you. They're bringing us all the rubs in, and they distribute them to the UK and Europe.
And just paying normal UK prices for stuff. So
they're doing a fantastic job, guys.
And all the ones that are winning in the US and around the world.
Yeah, they're winning barbecue competitions, guys. So I mean, they've got to be good bits of kit.
I got 3 of them delivered last week, and I've been playing with them over the weekend. I used all 3 actually. I used the OBQ's sweet and sweet. Can't remember which way around it is now. Just talked about it so many times, but it's Slush. Jackie Waite recommended it to me, and I saw it on there and had to order it, and I've used that this weekend.
Yep.
And used the
Byron's
classic
butt rub.
Yep. And also that.
Which is great with any pork product.
And the
basically
Dizzy Pig,
pineapple, something or other.
Pineapple
head.
Pineapple head. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I used it on top of a apple cake that I made. instead of putting like brown sugar on top, I sprinkled that all over the top of it.
How's that?
Lush.
So I know you're looking forward to using that
Yeah, I
pineapple.
forgot to
head.
bring you in the cake actually. I
Yeah,
brought you in
cheers for
some
that.
sausage rolls, but
Really
forgot
rubbish
that.
barbecue Monday. He didn't bring me in anything.
Wow.
Oh yeah, no, he did. He
Right,
brought
let's
me
take
in.
this back. What did you bring me in?
Ooh.
This is awkward.
Ooh.
What did I bring you? 3 different sausage rolls.
Yeah, he did. He did. I have to admit it, he did. Right, moving back to the important things. So yeah, I would definitely advise you to buy a rub, a commercial rub first of all. Test a few out, see what flavors you like, and then start experimenting with. Then you sort of know what you like and what you don't like. Maybe start adding a few bits and pieces, experiment, and then sort of move on to maybe making some of your own rubs as well. I mean, yeah, it's very easy for me to say, just make your own rubs, but where'd you start? How do you experience some of the flavorings that aren't available very easily here? How did you get the quantities right and the sort of the matrix of putting it together right? There's a lot of different variables, and yeah, okay, you could just go away and make it now yourself, but I
do enjoy making them myself.
Yeah.
It's a good experience as well. It's part of it, I think, isn't it? Of learning about
definitely
the different flavours, but it always comes down to like quality stuff as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
When it comes down to like paprika's like one of the key ingredients in a lot of the dishes. You need to make sure you're getting a good quality one because you can really, really taste the difference.
Oh, hugely. And again, like just quantities, a tiny little bit of good quality paprika can massively change a dish compared to like you could use like a tablespoon of like some of the supermarket stuff and like barely even know it's there. So yeah, the quality of stuff really, really makes a difference. And again, like I said there, for instance, if you're used to using like a tablespoon of standard Sainsbury's, any supermarket rub there, you could and then go ahead and buy a really good one and put a tablespoon in it. It will just kill everything. So just be careful, guys. Experiment with quantities and stuff like that. That's why I'd say to sort of get a commercial one first of all, because it gives you an idea of what you like and what you don't like, how to balance things properly. But yeah, anyway, it's up to you guys.
Supermarkets are even selling like some rubs and sauces as well now.
Yeah.
Got some red sauces.
Oh, yeah.
I really like those.
Asda are knocking reds out.
And Sainsbury's as well.
Yep, Sainsbury's as well.
Yeah.
And they got the sauces as well, don't they?
Yeah.
Cool. There's loads, and that's another thing, Barbecue Gourmet sell loads and loads of awesome sauces, so check those out. Awesome sauces. But yeah, so the supermarket's selling a few now. I mean,
you
can
like
get
the South Carolina mustard and that from Reds. It's like one of my favourites. Started making it myself now because I was buying it too often, but it's so good.
Yeah, I think we've sort of covered that there. What's next on the barbecue list?
I'd like to just touch on the fact that I was quite into buying quite a few different books when I first started out, and some were really, really good, and some are still on the shelf.
Ooh,
I'm not going to name the ones still on the shelf. It's unfair. But you can imagine if you just go into like a random bookstore and there's 50 things you can cook on the barbecue from someone you've never heard of before, it's probably not the best book in the world. Some of it didn't even look like it ever touched a barbecue, I think, in those books. But where my favourite book that's got me like really into barbecue, I guess, is going to be Red's The Meat Bible. It's awesome. It's got so many good recipes in it. It's just almost like every page is something you'd want to cook. I love that book. It's really good. Then I really, really enjoyed that Ginger Pig book as well. I'm still reading it, but I've still never like got to the recipes part of it. I'm just like so into the butchery part at the beginning and learning about the different breeds of the cattle and different cuts of meat and stuff. And I think if you want to learn more about that side of things, it's a really, really good book for like the kind of ins and outs of like what makes a good animal and which breeds have come together to form the perfect meat.
Aaron Franklin's is very similar to that, and it's like a great story to read. Actually, you read it, and it's like his
like the meat manifesto.
Yeah, the meat manifesto. Yeah, he starts off like talking about how he grew up in a barbecue sort of restaurant environment with his parents, and he tells us a bit of a story, and then he talks about the different types of smokers, gives you a bit of an education, and then moves on to some recipes later on. But it's not your standard recipe book. It's a little bit different, but it's a really, really good one.
Yeah.
And Grill Stock have literally just released one,
Yeah.
which is awesome.
Yep.
I actually genuinely haven't had enough time. I'm just going to tell you, actually, it was released this week. So whenever we choose to release this, we haven't had a chance to properly have a look yet. It's
We've flicked through and it looks awesome. I can't wait.
Both had it on pre-order.
There on one of my favourites, I think.
Yeah,
but
and it's
early.
There's a few guest appearances from some of the people that we know and involved in the barbecue community, and it's really great to see that. And yeah, that looks like it's a really great book.
Yeah.
From flicking through, there looks to be some awesome recipes to try. So yeah, that's another great one I'd say to check out.
Probably going to be heading towards my favourites.
Yeah. I would like to just sort of maybe mention Ben Tish's here one second, because it puts another spin on things for me, and we're always looking at barbecue from a different perspective, me and you, in the fact that we absolutely love low and slow American US style barbecue, but at the same time we are trying to always identify British barbecue in itself and promote using British products and produce, and also what Ben actually does is he brings the sort of spin of the Mediterranean sort of Italian and Spanish feel to his cooking.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I really, really like. And Richard Holden, actually, in a few of his recipes, he brings a real sort of English vibe to his recipes. So there's really great to throw them into the mix there.
I just think probably the last tip, I guess, after you've got a few good books there, because there's lots of recipes online, but I think when it comes down to these books we've mentioned now, these are like real tried and tested recipes, and I've found quite a few online ones which don't turn out as well as you first think, but there are millions of good websites out there and great videos on YouTube and stuff to watch. Is it the Barbecue Pit Boys? Their videos are real funny to watch, and I've cooked some awesome stuff from them before. They've done their beer can burgers and stuff like that. They had a real big following of people trying out all different things from that. Do you see? I saw over the weekend actually. I don't know if I shared it with you. Stephen Reichland did like a pork breakfast burger. Did you see it? It was
I did.
With the egg in it.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I wanted to try that. I thought about it after I'd just made all those sausage rolls with all that pork, that sausage meat. I could have made some of those. And I was like, oh, yeah, you do damn.
Yeah. One thing we've sort of brushed over completely here, and I'm gonna have to just put you in a headlock a second here and drag you back to the studio. Smoke.
Never heard of it.
The thing that we all
said it earlier.
All love. Well, not really.
Not really.
Right.
We said it could happen on a gas barbecue.
Mm-hmm. So
smoking woods.
Smoking woods massive and smoke.
Right. Delete this episode. Let's go back.
I'm just going to delete you because I asked you where we're going next, and you've just taken us to a point of no return.
This is the thing of I'm in charge, so
you messed up. Yeah. Anyway, right. I'm going to bring it back now. You're back with Dan, and I'm taking over again, so you're in safe hands.
This is awkward.
Right. Smoking woods, guys.
Carry on.
Do you have... This is going to take me off on a tangent already, because I'm going to start with dust.
Everyone loves
Don't
dust.
use dust to hot smoke. You use dust to cold smoke. A CSG, which is a cold smoke generator from ProQ, is an amazing bit of kit. Looks like a little maze.
No pun intended.
Looks like a little maze, and you put your dust in. You put a little candle, a little tea light candle on one end, and after about a minute, you'll have a luscious smoke for about, or depends how much you fill it up and stuff like that, but for about 12 hours, and it will burn out smoking stuff without putting out any temperature at all. So no worries about it, anything going wrong with the food or it getting to an unsafe zone temperature or anything like that. So you use your dust to cold smoke. I also happen to have a tube which is very similar to the Amazon tube, which is from the US, and that uses pellets, and you can use pellets for hot smoking, I guess. I just wouldn't advise it. You can use those for cold smoking too. So you fill your tube up, light one end, and it burns down there nice and slowly, and it works really well as well. So those two there are great for cold smoking. Then I'm going to move on to your chips.
My chips?
Yeah. Well, let's just move on to
my
chips.
own.
Well, for now, what you're seeing a lot of is chips around, and I don't know, sort of. I guess chips are probably the first thing that I bought when I first started smoking.
Yeah.
And again,
Most supermarkets sell them, and garden centres and
I don't
places
really
like
like
that. They don't last as long, do they? That's
no,
that's the
I don't really
biggest
like
thing.
them.
I do use them still quite a bit because of having them.
Yeah, because you can't smoke. But anyway,
Right. This is just.
he's just turned his mic off. Right, he's going home now. You're
I'm
back,
back
with it.
again
Oh no, he's back. Right, chips. Yes, chips. Right.
I've got some nice whiskey oak chips though.
Mm-hmm.
They smell really good.
Yep.
And they do give a good smoke, but it just doesn't last very long.
No, you chuck a handful on and they're burnt out in a minute. But actually, yeah, for me, if I'm grilling something like direct, up close and personal grilling, I think you can actually chuck a handful of chips in there, or you could chuck a handful of pellets in there. I wouldn't really say chuck a handful of sawdust on there. I just don't see it happening, but never tried it. But anyway,
probably just will float up on the food.
Yeah, so you chuck that on there, and I think actually that could impart a nice little smoky flavour into it. Grilling, give you a little smoky edge.
Chips will last longer if you soak them, though. So I've done that for a bit.
Yeah.
Soak them in water for like an hour or so.
Yeah. Not really a fan of soaking either, but
makes them last longer.
It's personal, just personal thing, just personal taste.
It's not. That's a fact.
Yeah. And don't go soaking them in whiskey and those stuff, guys.
That won't make them last longer.
That doesn't work.
That'll make them burn a lot faster.
I want whiskey flavoured chips. I'm going to soak my chips in whiskey. No. Whiskey flavoured chips and whiskey flavoured chunks come from wood that has been used to hold whiskey for months, years, the rest of it. So it's really had a chance to impart flavour, whereas soaking your wood chips in a bottle of whiskey for half an hour or an hour is a waste of good whiskey. And is only gonna, if you chuck them straight onto the charcoal, it's only gonna cause a flare up. But anyway, moving on, you then have chunks. Chunks is where I decide that I want to join in this conversation because I love chunks.
You liked dust as well.
Yeah, for cold smoking. But, and I like pellets.
Chunks are the best.
I like all wood. Wood smokes are fantastic, however you get it. Anyway, but yeah, chunks. Chunks are the best. Chunks last forever. I sometimes actually genuinely do like big old cooks and like hours, cook for hours, then close my vents off because I'm finished and I want to save the charcoal in it. So I close my vents off, shut it all off, and then the next day, because I'm lazy like that, I open it all up and I've still got like
next week.
I've still got like half a chunk left where it hasn't even smoked the whole thing. And I think like, how economic. Oh God. Right, anyway. And you definitely want to check out Smokewood Shack. Smokewood Shack are producing fantastic wood. They're producing dust. They're producing planks. They're producing chunks.
Yeah, everything we just mentioned.
Everything we just mentioned, they're producing. And also ProQ are putting out nicely measured chunks. They're putting out a lot of chunks. And they've just released a new whiskey. Whiskey oak barrel. And it is phenomenal. Like when I was down visiting the ProQ guys, Ty opened up a bag and I almost just fell over drunk. It was so good. It genuinely smelled like you just pour yourself a fresh glass of whiskey and take a whiff. It actually genuinely smelled like that. And it was a single malt barrel that they've got, and then that's what they're using, and it's a fantastic product. So guys, check that out. And like I said, Smokewood Shack, they sell amazing quality wood and the service is phenomenal. Yeah. So back to chunks. There's so much experimentation going on, which is awesome to see.
Yeah.
And people are experimenting with all sorts. And yeah, that's great to see. And you got to think of wood as a seasoning, as a flavour. That's what I would like to say now, as I have mentioned it already. Wood is a flavour, and all different types of wood give a different flavour.
Not all woods go well with all meats.
No. And I would say that maybe to the average palate, a little bit of smoke from any wood would pretty much go with anything. But when you start layering on flavours and stuff like that, there's definitely certain woods work a lot better with certain things, and certain woods work not as well as other things.
Some definitely have like a much heavier flavour, don't they? Like darker almost in taste. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
It's a tricky like description to give it, but like that's what I feel like sometimes using something like the mesquite or something. It's got a real
Mesquite can go very wrong very quickly. Be very careful with mesquite. Use it, and that's one of the woods you probably will see in chunks. Chips and stuff in like your supermarket. Be careful. You can go overboard very quickly with mesquite. It's a very powerful tasting wood. So, and I do like it. I actually like mesquite flavour, but you need to just be careful.
Like for me, like the hickory flavour kind of works well with pretty much everything. It's like quite a nice light. I don't know. It's just works for me.
Yeah. I'm just going to go in again and just say something there where, like, for instance, a lot of people are now using, like, woods that you would pair, like, for instance, like an orange wood. I'm going to use that with something that oranges go with. And yeah, you get that flavour. You get, like, a weird flavour. And how Matt described from his orange charcoal, you get, like a rich sort of marmalade if you didn't put the sweetener in the marmalade, like that rich sort of orangey flavour from the charcoal. And you do. So like, for instance, you could pair up specific things with specific things. So like apple woods, stuff like that with pork like your apple. Cherry. And so like, your classic pork and apple mixture there. And they give a different flavour. So yeah, experiment with woods, mix woods.
Yeah.
Woods
that was new to me until a while ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, you can chuck a bit of cherry on and a bit of this and a bit of that and a bit of this. And again, like, it sounds weird, but you do eat with your eyes, and certain woods give certain colour smoke. So, not coloured smoke, sorry, but coloured, they leave a coloured finish on the meat. So like a cherry actually leaves a really nice, rich sort of red colour. So if you want to go with something like that for a particular presentation or whatever, I actually feel it gives a really nice red finish.
I just thought of this could be where chips come back and claw it in for you a bit. Ready for this innovation?
Maybe.
Like you said, if we're going to combine like some woods together, sometimes if you do only want a little bit of something, then a handful of mesquite chips maybe with a bigger lump that you're going for your core flavour could be a good option for you.
It could indeed, and there we go. There we've just thrown back in the mix some chips. Maybe there is a future in my life for chips, but we'll have to find out.
Let's get some. I'll order some now.
Smokewood Shack.
What do you want, then?
Could we have some chips, please? But yeah, that brings me nicely back to
black.
Boards.
Oh yeah. Smoking planks.
When I went silent there,
it's because you couldn't think of the word
I couldn't think of the word plank.
And you looked at me.
And I looked at him, and I said boards, hoping that he would jump in with the word planks. And he did sort of, but he took a little bit longer than what I expected. Anyway.
I thought you were looking at me, referring to me as a plank.
Yeah, well.
A bit rude.
Anyway, yeah, planks, guys. Plank cooking. Was it John Gower that wrote the great bit about planking in the
UK
first
Barbecue Mag.
UK Barbecue Mag episode, I believe. And Kelly Bramwell, Dreaming of the Good Life, she's done some bits on planked fish and other bits. Smokewood Shack sells some awesome planks of wood. Check them out, guys. They sell them in different sizes for different like cuts, and if say you're doing like a whole family worth of fish, fillets or something, or you're doing a whole fish, they do all sorts, so check them out, guys. Planks are a great way of imparting flavour, smoky flavour into certain things. And again, you soak them like you do soak the chips to stop them burning out too quickly, because you can use them directly over, or you tend to use them directly over charcoal. I mean, that's another thing I just want to touch on there. I wouldn't bother soaking your chunks. Don't need to. Don't believe in it. Never done it. And like I said, I've cooked for hours and still had chunk left, so there's no point. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, there is no point. They work very hard. Well, good companies like Smokewood Shack and ProQ work very, very hard to create a controlled environment to bring their wood down to a certain moisture level, etc., and age it perfectly for your consumption. Do not then go and put it in a bucket of water for a few hours. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Do not do it. Yeah.
Getting a bit jazzy. You're very demanding, aren't you?
I know. So the worst thing is I'm an extremely opinionated person, and I...
Probably the wrong person for this.
Yeah.
Right. So we
If we find someone else, we bring someone else in there. Anyone else want to come do this job? But yeah, where were we with planks? John Gower.
Yeah,
we just
did salmon.
We're just pushing it his way.
Yeah, ask him.
You deal with planks, and Kelly, you deal with planks. No, a great way of cooking, a completely different, again, like a whole new realm of something else to try. Check that out, guys, in the UK Barbecue Mag and Dreaming of the Good Life food blog with Kelly.
We used them on the Great British Barbecue often.
I did indeed. I used them to cook fish on there. They're great, really, really great for fish, but actually they're good for a lot of other things as well, and it's worth experimenting with.
Salmon's the thing that you always see, really, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
typical thing. If you see the hairy bikers who are even cooking on wooden planks of salmon.
Those hairy bikers.
Little
jazzy bikers. Yeah, and I've actually seen the Shank brothers were doing their chef's choice. We're doing like a triple brie and nut and all sorts of other stuff going on that looked insane. That they cooked on little mini cedar plank.
You had me at triple brie.
Yeah. I just want to say, like, that's something that I'm really, really enjoying at the minute is the chef's choice. I think that's really completely killing the barbecue game, like completely opening it up to, like, I don't know, just making people, like, I don't know, just completely changing the game. Completely seeing the sort of stuff.
For me, the variety in creating these cool things,
the
and
creativity,
not just doing the same
the
thing.
finesse, the sort of gourmet food, like, I don't know, like your Michelin star, like sort of knocking on stuff, is really coming out of these barbecue competitions in the chef's choice, and I'm really, really enjoying it. I have to say, it's my favourite category. It's really opening like all sorts of, I don't know what.
You just don't know what you're going to get, do you?
No.
Just amazing creations come out of it.
No, yeah. It's fantastic to see, and I'm really enjoying that. It's got nothing to do with starting off barbecuing, but guys, check it out. If you're the cook that sort of smashed the indoor kitchen area and you're looking to move outdoors, then it's a way for you to sort of finesse and do a bit of that, bit of flair, impress people outside of the traditional routes, a little bit different, maybe. I mean, because obviously a perfectly cooked rack of ribs or brisket or pulled pork or some one of your other normal standard chickeny goodness dishes are going to blow people's socks off, minds and everything else when cooked properly. But if you want something a little bit different, check those things out, guys.
I guess like my final thing, we haven't scripted this bit. We haven't decided on. We haven't scripted anything ever, to be honest.
Scripted anything, but
out of our bullet points of things that we might want to talk about, what would you recommend people's first cook that they go for if they've just got all of this kit that we've just told them to buy? They've come home. What are they going to cook first?
I have to say, I would go with a pork shoulder. Personally, they're very, very forgiving. So it's pretty hard to mess them up. Again, if the temperature flies up, they're fairly forgiving. If anything, you'll get a really nice bark on the outside. So that's something I tend to do with my pork shoulders anyways, is I like a little bit of hotter temperature. But anyway, so they're very forgiving. And actually, when you pull them out the smoker, like a 5 kilo pork shoulder or something like that, you don't have to go that big, but okay, I would say, go for it. When you pull it out the smoker, people are going to be impressed. Minds are going to be blown when you pull it. Because like I said, it's really, really hard to get wrong. Stick a probe in it, take it to a temperature, and it's going to pull. And then you're going to have this delicious pulled pork,
which everyone's going to be into, because pulled pork's become the fashion word. But real good home pulled pork is
proper
amazing.
Pulled pork with a proper smoky flavour that's been rubbed with whatever you want from Barbecue Gourmet, smoked over whatever you want from Smokewood Shack or ProQ. And you're going to have this absolutely amazing centerpiece that you've cooked in the barbecue. Minds are going to be blown. It's very forgiving, quite hard to get wrong. And that is what I'd go for. What do you think?
Yeah, it is a tricky question, and that's why I asked it to you. But I'm pretty agreeing on the pulled pork, because that is one of the first. I think that's almost like why I wanted a barbecue in the first place, was that I really want to make awesome pulled pork. But my other thing that I really...
On the flip side, you never want to eat pulled pork from anyone else ever. Well,
no, it's
anything not from a proper
doesn't
barbecue.
compare,
Like,
does it?
you go to like these places now and you got pulled pork this and pulled pork that,
wrap,
and you literally can't eat it anymore because it's just
not the same.
pulled pork. Probably makes you quite angry, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, you're about to say something before I rudely
Well,
interrupted.
I'm torn, to be honest, because like part of my when I first started, I actually really wanted a pizza oven, and we haven't really talked about that at all. But the ceramic obviously does offer that, and a wood-fired pizza was like something I was really after, but it probably wouldn't be my recommended thing for the first time to cook. But definitely wood-fired pizzas do taste amazing. But I reckon everyone that starts out in barbecue is going to be wanting to go for ribs, aren't they, really?
Yeah.
And like cooking fall off the bone pork ribs tends to be what people actually want. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know, we differ a little even between me and you, that I actually don't like it as falling off the bone as you do, but that is the like thing that when
It's
you
like
start
steak,
off,
guys. Come on, forgive barbecue forte. It's like steak. People like their steak cooked differently. Yes, there is a right way to like steak rare, but people like it differently. Barbecue forte was actually talking about ribs, how I like them. I like my ribs rib man style, fall off the bone, like taken to that pulled pork sort of level. That's how I like them.
I like them to taste like that, but I like the
you like a bite,
cleanliness and just like to be able to bite into it, and it feels right.
Which is competition standard, like either your bite.
And I think maybe I've just come from that way of like I've looked at ribs from how the competition cook it. That must be the best way to cook it. So.
That's not how you cook pork ribs. Oh no!
Oh no! Dan's off on one again.
Go away. Go
we're gonna have
away.
to stop now because you're just getting too grumpy now.
Turn his mic off. No,
you must be too hungry.
Yeah.
It's
really
all this
hungry.
talk about food. It's made us hungry, made us grumpy. I think we should go and eat something.
Yeah, I'm gonna go buy a steak on the way home and just go crazy on the chimney griller. Oh,
You're always dirty these days, eh?
I am a bit of a dirty.
Dirty caveman.
Yeah, well, that is a conversation for a different day, isn't it?
Yep. Right.
That's the wrong podcast, I think.
I think that's been a good session. I think we've talked through like the ins and outs. I think we've gone off on a bit of a tangent, maybe, but
yeah,
but
more
that's what
him
we
than
do,
me.
innit?
I don't really ever go off on a tangent. You know that.
Ranty.
Right.
Ranty Shahin.
Yeah, so I just want to thank you all for tuning in, guys. I've really enjoyed it. I think we've covered most stuff here. We've gone a little bit over time. When I say a little bit over time, we've gone 23 minutes over time.
Really?
Yeah. But I thought we
were under.
Yeah, no, we've covered a lot of stuff here. But yeah, maybe
we're late.
dip into this one and dip out of this one as you please. But thanks for tuning in, guys. We've recorded yet another awesome podcast to get you over hump day, 23 minutes longer than usual. As always, we are brought to you by ProQ BBQ Gourmet and Smokewood Shack, our awesome sponsors. ProQ is dedicated to providing quality smoking products with top-notch service and free advice for beginners to pitmasters.
What's wrong?
You're putting funny faces.
Yeah.
And you can find them on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram under ProQ Smokers. So if you're thinking about buying your first smoker or looking to upgrade, or even look to pick up some epic accessories, check them out over at maxbarbecue.com. And BBQ Gourmet is devoted to promoting real barbecue and supplying the UK and Europe with the top championship-winning barbecue rubs, sauces, marinades, and accessories from the US and around the world. And you can find them on Twitter and online under BBQ Gourmet. So regardless of how you cook, whether it's on charcoal, wood, gas, or electric, the real taste of barbecue can be yours all year round. And Smokewood Shack delivers quality smoking wood every time. They provide the smoky goodness and you provide the talent. So if you are looking for smoking wood chunks, dust, chips, planks, or more, then head on over to smokewoodshack.com and you can find them on Twitter at Smokewood Shack. Thanks, guys. So that's goodbye from me and
goodbye from me.
See you next time.
Bye.